Hi, I'm Donya and I am back with another book. My new book is called Scraps of Healing. It's not out yet, but it will be early October. It is a lot bigger than my first book, and it's a poetry book. My inspiration for writing this book was that when I was around 11, I used to write songs. I didn't do much with them. So my mom suggested that I take scraps of them and make it into a book. I wrote more and more poems in the book that either had to do with my life or something that I saw or observed, or same scenario as the first book. If I saw it or I went through it, I wrote it down. Which is also one of the reasons that this book made me realize really why I love writing so much. I love writing because it gives me somewhere to put my feelings and to express myself in a way that I wouldn't usually be comfortable saying out loud. For example, if I'm talking about feelings, it's, for me at least, it's so much easier for me to write it down or type it out instead of telling somebody how I feel, like in person. So if you love poetry or if you're looking for somebody to relate to while growing through something, then this book is 100% for you. It's in an interesting format, and that's how it's different from other poetry books. So let me pull up one that has all three works. So there's three parts. The first part is the part that either came straight out of the songbook or I just wrote it down, and then I read through it a few times. So after I read through it once, maybe, or twice, I thought, it's missing something, but I don't want it to be a part of the original thing because it's not from the original thing. It's from me going through, being at a different point in the growth of the same scenario that I was in the book, or that I saw, or just be coming from a more mature perspective, I guess, than I was when I wrote the poem originally. So that's the bolded. And then when I read through it again, I either wanted to write some conclusion lines or just add a little thing, just add a little cherry on top, basically, regarding what the poem said, and from an even more mature perspective that I am at now. It's really important for me to explore different creative processes in writing different genres, because it's really interesting how the self-help book was so different in not only the creative process but the publishing process, the editing, everything. It was so different than the poetry book, and for me, for some reason, it was a lot more difficult, because not only was it my first book and I didn't know what obstacles were there and how to go around them. Happiness is Inside of You, my first book, had a lot more colors in it, because of the watercolor paintings I did, than the poetry book that is literally black and white. And I'm so proud that I wrote this big of a book, because and I know it's not that big, but like, it's 200 some pages. Like, that's crazy. That's awesome. And yeah, I'm just really proud of this book because I feel like it's very mature and sentimental, and it's, let me read a poem for you. I feel like it's so hard because I'm looking, but I don't want to read one and then you guys think, oh, the whole book is like that, because it's not. It's very, like, there's sections. Let me show you. Do I have a table of content? Please say I have a table. Oh, because I do. Because I made a table of content. So there's different sections, and I feel I named, something really interesting. So I named the sections. I did research. I named the sections based on either a stage of grief, a stage of depression, or a few words that I think will sum up the section. And I think you can see how like, you can see how the journey goes throughout the... Let's read. The prologue says, before reading this, you should know that it describes some pretty tough times, sadly relatable too. You should know that I'm here for you and that I'm glad you're still here. I hope this book makes you feel like you're not alone in some things and help you see that there is light. Enjoy. And then there's a little note explaining the different fonts and the different bold, like, whatever, the different formats of the text. So, regular text is the original. Bolded is the second time, read through, adding to it from a more mature point of view or perspective, whatever. And the italicized is like third, fourth time I read through it, and I kind of know how the situation all ended, mostly, which is why I said I'm gonna be writing a conclusion, basically, on the poem. So I'm gonna pull up a poem that has all three. This poem summarizes why I love writing this poem. Art. The fun thing about being an artist is that you can make something really painful into something beautiful. And if you're lucky, you can even make money off of that pain. It makes it a little more worth it. And people know they're not alone. Detach. I am detaching from you, from the things that kept me up, from the mess in my closet, from the souvenirs. Because one way or another, everything is temporary. I'm so glad. But why does letting go have to be so painful? So that was that. So follow me at allidoiswrite.donia on Instagram and TikTok. And don't forget to subscribe to get the specifics and the link for when Scraps of Healing comes out October 4th.